Hello and welcome to my channel, dear listeners. Today I've got a story for you that's based on true events. My name is Daniel, and let me take you back 7 years ago when I was just 26 years old. At that time, I was in a relationship with a wonderful woman named Amanda. We had been together for quite a while, having started dating since our first day of ninth grade. Amanda and I had a unique relationship. We both agreed that we didn't want children or marriage, and we had our finances sorted out in a way that worked for us. Amanda was a short woman with a bit of meat on her bones, which I found attractive. She had a warmth about her that made every moment together feel special. We had plans for everything in our lives, from how to split the bills once we moved in together to what we wanted to accomplish in our careers. Speaking of careers, I had quite the journey myself. My first job was directing spicy videos, which often surprised people when they found out. Then I transitioned into hazardous materials cleanup, where I dealt with some pretty grim situations like car crashes and crime scenes. Now I was working as a welder, which I found fulfilling in its own way. Despite our differences and the challenges life threw our way, Amanda and I were happy together. However, there was one aspect of our relationship that occasionally caused friction. Amanda wasn't as adventurous in the bedroom as I would have liked. She had some reservations about certain intimate activities, which sometimes left me feeling unsatisfied. But I loved her deeply, and our connection went beyond physical intimacy. We still shared a strong bond and made each other happy in many other ways. Then, one Saturday night, everything changed. I decided to cook dinner for us, and we invited Amanda's family over to enjoy a build-your-own burrito station I had set up. I prepared everything from scratch, including a delicious brisket as the main protein. It was a lively evening filled with laughter and good food. However, after Amanda's family left, I noticed a shift in her demeanour. She seemed more eager than usual for some extracurricular activities, as she coyly put it. This caught me off guard, especially since we hadn't been intimate all week, which was unusual for us. Additionally, she suggested dimming the lights, which wasn't something we typically did. It felt like she was trying to set a different mood, one that I wasn't entirely sure about. As I reflect on that night now, I realize it was the beginning of a turning point in our relationship. Little did I know things were about to take an unexpected and challenging turn. But for now, let's leave it at that and delve deeper into the events that unfolded later on. So there I was, thinking it was adorable that Amanda wanted to spice things up a bit. After a whole week without any intimate moments, I was all for it. But even in the dimmed lights and different positions, something caught my eye. Guys, let's be real here. When you're in that doggy-style position, you tend to take a peek, right? Well, I did, and I noticed something unusual. There seemed to be some wear and tear around her back door, if you catch my drift. I couldn't help but wonder what had happened. Had she recently, well, or was there something else going on? My mind was racing, and before I knew it, I felt tense all over and then went down. I had a seizure. When I came to, Amanda had put a pillow under my head and was holding me gently to prevent me from falling off the bed. She's a registered nurse, so she knew what to do. She didn't call an ambulance because she knew it was just a seizure and made sure I was safe. It took me a while to gather my thoughts, but when I did, I realized a few things. We hadn't been intimate for a week, and then suddenly, she wanted to dim the lights. Two odd things combined, plus it looked like she'd been hiding something in her bum. I had questions, but I decided not to ask her just yet. Instead, I started planning. I needed to find out more, so I ordered some spy gadgets online, voice-activated microphones with micro SDs for storage. I hid one in Amanda's purse and another in her phone case, which she always carried around. I even managed to sneak one into her car. With everything set up, I just had to wait. The next 2 weeks were tough. We still didn't have any intimate moments, and the tension between us was palpable. But finally, On a Saturday at the end of those 2 weeks, she wanted to be intimate. However, she insisted on missionary only, and try as I might, I couldn't shake off the feeling of betrayal. It bothered me knowing that some random guy had done something she had always denied me. But I kept my cool and bided my time, determined to uncover the truth behind Amanda's strange behavior. I monitored the recordings from the spy gadgets closely, hoping to find some answers. And then, one day, it happened. I heard Amanda talking on the phone, her voice hushed but urgent. She was making plans to meet someone she referred to as darling, at a motel on the outskirts of town. My heart sank as I listened to her conversation, realizing that my suspicions were true. Amanda had been seeing someone else behind my back. I was devastated, but I knew I had to confront her. I waited until she came home that evening and then calmly confronted her about what I had heard. At first, she denied everything, but when I played back the recordings for her, she couldn't deny the truth any longer. She broke down in tears, admitting that she had been having an affair for the past few months. I was crushed, but also strangely relieved to finally know the truth. Our relationship was over, but at least I had closure. In the days and weeks that followed, I focused on healing and moving on from the betrayal. It wasn't easy, but with the support of friends and family, I eventually found peace. And as for Amanda, well, I wish her all the best, but I know I deserve better than someone who would betray my trust like that. And that, dear listeners, is the story of how I discovered the truth about Amanda's secret affair. It may not have been easy to hear, but sometimes the truth hurts, and sometimes it's the only thing that can set you free. So there I was, feeling a bit disappointed that Amanda wanted to stick to missionary. It's just so boring, especially after a whole week without any action. Anyway, it was Sunday, and like usual, I got up before her. Around 8 a.m., I gathered all the bugs I had planted, took them to my office, and found hundreds of audio clips waiting for me on my computer. Since I was off work that day, and she had an 8-hour shift ahead of her, I had plenty of time to listen to them all. She woke up around noon, which was her usual time since her work started at 2 p.m. Once she left, I got to work. The recordings were all one-sided, only her side of the conversation, but it was enough. I listened to them in order, sorted by date, and the first one that caught my attention was a phone call she made in her car the morning after my seizure. It was captured by all 3 devices since she was in her car. In the conversation, she mentioned something about not being sure if she could do something again that night because it still hurt from last week. She said something about having time with me the night before but not letting me do something. She mentioned that what they had was different and apologized, saying she would make it up to the person next weekend. It seemed like they had a schedule. Sunday after work during girls' night was when she'd go to this new place for sex toys. The next recording that caught my attention was her apologizing for skipping once again on the Sunday in the middle of our 2 sexless weeks. I wasn't sure why I felt relief at first, but then it hit me. She had skipped him because it still physically hurt her after 2 weeks. I pieced together that their initial encounter was the Sunday, a week before my burrito night extravaganza. So, in exact order, they hooked up on a Sunday, he took her backdoor virginity, and meanwhile, she and I did nothing all week. Then, the following Saturday night after dinner, she and I got busy. It was like a slap in the face, realizing that while I was being faithful and waiting for her, she was off having these secret encounters behind my back. The betrayal stung, but it also fueled my determination to confront her and put an end to the deception. After realizing that my perfect life was crumbling, I had a seizure. They skipped Sunday the night after, and the next Sunday after that, too. We're currently in the middle of our 2-week timeline, and I still have more recordings to go through. We were intimate last night, on Saturday, with me taking the missionary position. Now, it's Sunday again, and she's at work while I'm sorting through everything. During the second week of recordings, there was another interesting call on Friday. She said she was feeling up to it and would see him on Sunday. So tonight, on girls' night, she came home after work, shortly after 11, showered, got dressed. Nothing too revealing, just her usual attire. I decided that tonight was the night. I wasn't going to confront her directly, but I was going to use the recent lack of affection as leverage. When she came home and was getting dressed, I asked her to talk to me. I calmly told her that before my seizure, we hadn't been intimate for a week. And since then, we hadn't done anything at all. I asked her why. She said she was scared of triggering another seizure, which realistically was valid. But I asked her if I wanted to be intimate right then and there. Would she skip girls' night for me? She said she was still going out, but that we'd talk about it later. Now she's using my seizure against me, which, in my opinion, was actually caused by her in the first place, to continue seeing this guy and denying me intimacy. I felt some type of way about that. As for how I'd find her, her entire family uses an app called Life 360, and they added me to it too. It came in handy once before, so I pulled it up, waited for her to stop somewhere, and set out to continue my plan. The house she stopped at belonged to my friend Marcus, my best friend. I had helped him through his divorce, but now it seems my wife is still helping him get over it, and I'm being taken advantage of in the process. On girls' nights out, she usually got home around 2 a.m., so at least I had somewhat of a timeline for when their fun would come to an end. As I waited for her to return, my mind raced with a mix of anger, sadness, and frustration. I couldn't believe that she was using my health condition as an excuse to continue her affair. It felt like a betrayal on multiple levels. Not only was she cheating on me, but she was also manipulating the situation to her advantage. When she finally arrived home, I knew it was time to confront her, but I also knew that I needed to approach the situation carefully. I wanted answers, but I also needed to protect myself emotionally. So, as she settled in, I calmly asked her to sit down and talk. After what felt like an eternity of waiting, it finally happened. They both emerged from the house, entwined in a kiss that seemed to solidify everything I had feared. His hands firmly gripped her hips, while one of hers rested affectionately on his chest. The intimacy of the moment was like a dagger to my heart, confirming the betrayal I had suspected all along. As I sat in my car, I couldn't shake the overwhelming feeling of dread that washed over me. It was as if time had slowed down, each passing second a painful reminder of the shattered trust and deceit that had brought me to this moment. My hands trembled as I reached to turn on the ignition, the revving of the engine drowning out the tumultuous thoughts racing through my mind. I had made a conscious decision not to take my anti-seizure medication that morning, a calculated risk born out of a desperate need for closure. It was a reckless move, but in that moment, I was consumed by a mix of anger, betrayal, and an unyielding desire for justice. My foot hovered over the accelerator, while I ensured that my left foot remained clear of the brake pedal, knowing that a sudden seizure could spell disaster. As I sat there, grappling with the torrent of emotions raging within me, I couldn't help but reflect on the life I had built with my now ex-girlfriend. Our finances may have been separate, but our lives had become intertwined in ways I never imagined possible. The realization that she had orchestrated this affair behind my back felt like a cruel twist of fate, leaving me questioning everything I thought I knew about love and loyalty. The recordings from the spy gadgets I had planted only served to confirm my worst fears. The evidence was damning, painting a vivid picture of her infidelity and betrayal. It was a bitter pill to swallow, knowing that the woman I had once loved with all my heart was capable of such deceit. In the weeks that followed, I found myself handcuffed to a hospital bed, grappling with the consequences of my actions. The investigators were relentless in their pursuit of the truth, unearthing every sordid detail of my wife's affair and my own misguided attempts at retribution. As I languished in that hospital room, haunted by the ghosts of my past, I couldn't help but wonder what lay ahead. My friend Marcus was gone, a casualty of my own recklessness, while my ex-girlfriend lay in another room, undergoing surgery to repair the damage caused by my vengeful outburst. But amidst the chaos and despair, there was a glimmer of hope. Through the darkness that threatened to consume me, I found solace in the knowledge that I still had the power to rebuild my life, to forge a new path forward from the ashes of my shattered dreams. And though the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and obstacles, I was determined to emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. After getting certified in machining while I was in prison, I landed a job at a machining shop when I got out. There's something inherently satisfying about shaping metal to your liking, and the pay is good too. Even though I didn't necessarily need the job with my nest egg, it helped me maintain appearances. 6 months later, I moved out of the halfway house and into my own place. Before my time in prison, I had invested in Bitcoin, acquiring a total of 19 coins at around $600 each in 2016. I used up all my savings for it, storing the coins in a private wallet. I kept the private key in a pastebin post set to private on my account. I declared bankruptcy in prison and sold the coins after I was released. I made sure to pay taxes on the gains, freeing myself from past financial obligations. After some time, I created a Facebook account and started making friends. I even became a part owner of the machining shop I worked at. Despite living in the same town, my past didn't seem to follow me around. Maybe the full story never got out, but either way, nobody held it against me. Occasionally, I came across my ex and mutual friends on Facebook, but we never added each other as friends. I bought a newer model Evo, got it tuned up, and now life is somewhat okay. I take things one step at a time. Marcus's sister reached out to me after I got out of prison. She confirmed that the story had spread quite a bit, but she didn't hold it against me. We're still friends and I appreciate her understanding. I've decided to stay out of the dating scene for now. Living in a rural area, I find solace in the woods with my dog. If someone were to hurt my dog, I'd likely take action, but I'm content with letting life unfold as it may. This story was shared by Daniel, a regular on our channel. We wish him all the best in life and send him loads of love. Please share your thoughts in the comments and show Daniel some love.